Ever been on a flight and had the displeasure of being near or even next to seemingly the worst person to grace the sky? From kicking the back of your seat and rudely yapping as loud as humanly possible on their phone to clapping when the plane lands, those passengers are the bane of our existence. So if those are all things that rightfully annoy us, have you ever wondered what gets under flight attendants' skin? Welcome aboard this journey as we dive into some of the biggest pet peeves that absolutely annoy flight attendants to no end. From bad bathroom manners to the bizarre practice of clipping toenails mid-flight, there's a whole range of behaviors that make the list. And yet, they carry on, ever professional, ever courteous, ever patient. But wouldn't you like to know what truly gets under their skin? Wouldn't you like to be the passenger they're actually happy to see? Well, if you've ever been curious about the unspoken rules of the sky, you're in the right place. We're going to uncover the biggest pet peeves of flight attendants. And who knows, you might just find that some of your habits are on that list. So buckle up, folks. It's going to be a turbulent ride. First on our list, bathroom etiquette, or rather, the lack thereof. Now, we're all aware that airplane bathrooms aren't exactly the Ritz of restrooms, but some passengers really take the tiny toilet to a new low. Flight attendants share tales of travelers who seem to forget the basic principles of cleanliness the moment they cross the aircraft's threshold. Take, for example, the classic case of the hand-washing dodger. Yes, you heard it right. Some folks think that the simple act of washing hands after using the restroom is optional at 35,000 feet. Let's set the record straight, shall we? Gravity may work a bit differently up here, but the rules of hygiene remain firmly grounded. And then we have the barefoot bathroom brigade. Believe it or not, there are individuals who brave the airplane lavatory sans shoes or socks. Now, we're all for feeling at home on a flight, but traipsing around the toilet with naked toes takes things a tad too far. The absurdity of these actions might make you chuckle, but for our hardworking flight attendants, it's no laughing matter. Each unclean act adds to their workload and can even pose a health risk. After all, airplanes are a shared space, and maintaining a clean environment is everyone's responsibility. So the next time you're cruising at a cool 40,000 feet, spare a thought for your fellow passengers and the flight crew, and keep it clean. And to the barefoot bathroom adventurers out there, maybe pack a pair of flip-flops, okay? Now let's talk about the overhead bins. No, they're not your personal storage lockers. Picture this. You're on a flight, and there's a passenger who decides to use the overhead bin as their personal wardrobe. They start stashing away small items like jackets, hats, scarves, even a pair of fluffy bunny slippers. I mean, who knows? Maybe the barefooters and the bunny slippers could meet and make the plane ride a little better for everyone. And then there's the backpack brigade. You know, those passengers who swing their backpacks around like they're competing in a medieval jousting tournament. Before you know it, you're ducking and diving to avoid a backpack to the face. It's not exactly the in-flight entertainment you signed up for, right? But wait, there's more. Have you ever witnessed the overhead bin hoarders? These are the folks who stow away everything but the kitchen sink in the overhead bins, leaving no room for other passengers' luggage. It's a little like a game of Tetris gone wrong, with bags and cases jutting out at precarious angles. And let's not forget the bin squatters. They're the ones that claim an entire bin for their carry-on, then sit back and watch the chaos unfold as everyone else scrambles for space. It's like a real-life version of musical chairs, only with luggage and a lot less music. So next time, remember, overhead bins are for suitcases, not your collection of souvenir spoons. What's that sound? Oh, it's just another passenger treating the cabin like their personal concert hall. You know the type. They're the ones who think that the entire airplane has been eagerly waiting to hear their favorite podcast or the latest blockbuster movie without headphones. And it's not just a minor inconvenience. Picture this. You're cruising at 35,000 feet, trying to catch a few winks or get lost in a good book, when suddenly you're jolted by the blaring sounds of a high-speed car chase or an impassioned debate on economic theory. It's enough to make you wish for a parachute, isn't it? But the sound and fury don't stop there. Have you ever met the type who think the cabin door closing is the starting bell for their personal phone marathon? I mean, we've all got that one friend who's a chatterbox, but when you're trapped in a metal tube at high altitude, it's a whole new level of audio torture. The flight attendants have heard it all, literally. From heated business calls to awkward breakups, they've been unwilling eavesdroppers to a symphony of TMI. And let's not forget the ones who decide to share their entire life story with the poor soul sitting next to them. A little friendly conversation is one thing, but a 5-hour monologue on your pet chinchilla's dietary preferences? That's a one-way ticket to overwhelm city. So, here's a tip from the pros. Your headphones are more than just a fashion accessory. They're a tool of common courtesy. Use them. And once the cabin door is closed, it's time to hang up the phone, not dial up your third cousin twice removed to discuss Aunt Mabel's latest knitting project. Because remember, in the words of a wise flight attendant, your taste in music is not a shared experience. And now, for the grand finale, the unruly passengers. You know who you are. We've all been there. You're settling into your seat, ready for a peaceful flight, when suddenly you hear it. The ear-piercing shriek of a child running up and down the aisle, turning the airplane into their personal playground. Flight attendants, bless their hearts, have to deal with this soundtrack on repeat, while also ensuring the safety of every passenger on board. Now, we're not saying kids can't be adorable, but when they're bouncing off the cabin walls like a pinball, it's a different story. And speaking of things that should stay on the ground, let's talk about vaping. Yes, you heard right, some daredevils attempt to vape on an airplane as if the no smoking signs were mere suggestions. The audacity, right? Imagine you're cruising at 35,000 feet, and suddenly you're in a cloud, but not the fluffy white kind. No, this is a cloud of vape smoke from the guy in 14B. It's not exactly the mile-high club anyone signed up for. Finally, we arrive at one of the more, let's say, unique pet peeves. Brace yourselves, folks, because we're talking about clipping toenails. Picture this, you're enjoying your in-flight meal when suddenly a rogue toenail lands in your lap. Not exactly the kind of surprise you were hoping for during your flight, right? It's like a horror movie. Only instead of being scared by the predictable axe-wielding maniac, you're mortified by someone else's toenails landing on your in-flight snack or meal. So there you have it, the trifecta of unruly passengers. The hyperactive children, the audacious vapors, and the nail-clipping enthusiasts. It's a wild ride up there, folks. But remember, flight attendants are there to ensure your safety and comfort. So, the next time you fly, be a bit more considerate. Keep your feet on the ground, your vape pens at home, and for goodness sake, clip your toenails before you board the plane. So remember, the next time you fly, don't be that passenger. Well, folks, we've reached the end of our flight today. I hope you've enjoyed this look at flight attendants' biggest pet peeves. We've soared through the sky-high sanitation standards, battled over overhead bin space, navigated the sound and fury, and dealt with unruly passengers. It's been quite a ride, hasn't it? Now it's your turn. If this content tickled your funny bone or, heaven forbid, hit a nerve, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more. We've got a lot more turbulent tales to tell, and trust me, you don't want to miss out. But before we sign off, we want to hear from you. What are your pet peeves when it comes to airplane travel? Have you ever been the culprit or the victim of some of these annoying habits? Don't be shy. Drop a comment below and let's continue the conversation. Thanks for flying with us today. Remember, a happy flight attendant makes for a happy flight. Safe travels, everyone.